Ooh, what's up? What's up? What's up to the community? Uh, just doing this live episode of Truth to the People. Uh, uh, we still ain't got the main screen up, so we still working on it. I see my producer is on the side of watching us. So I think I'm gonna go ahead with it and talk about what we're talking about. And we're supposed to have the school board chair, Kim Ellison, join us. And uh, and this is to continue to try to get a message out to the community as we continue to fight through struggles within our community. Well, we just got to keep fighting, and that's everywhere. And right now, we in a state where they have a $9.2 billion surplus, and we got a lot of violence that we trying to stop in our communities. And we got to work this. We have to work it together to make these things happen. And so what I try to do is just keep giving the information, and I'm gonna ask my producer to come in here and see if this how the board supposed to be, because it usually not like that. Uh, so yeah, now that look a little better. I'm like, he had me on that short screen. There I go on the big. Had me on that short screen, and like I said, we'll have director chair of the board, Kim Ellison, come on in the 7 o'clock hour. But I like to start the show off by talking about what's going on and what we're trying to do. And when I talk about the 9.2 billion surplus the governor has, and then every time when you looking at our community, they it's a thing about they know where the damage is being done, but government just don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to fix the situation in our community, and kind of refuse to let us try to fix our own situation, and that's and that's what's happening right now. That we trying to fix it, whether it's in housing, education, public safety, business development. We're trying to fix it, and there's so many things going on around of the state that we get lost in it. And I keep saying, I think about George Floyd and what happened with George Floyd. People are not even that's afterthought right now. And what it did is, I keep saying, is we got more violence, and so we're gonna continue to work in our community to try to stop that violence. We using organizations like Youth Link, working with Youth Link, working with Emerge Northport program, working with the Park and Rec and Teamwork, working with Summit Academy. All these communities, as it says on the screen, coming together with organization, that because that's an employment mechanism and a housing mechanism. With when we talk about Youth Link, young people that's struggling, that's out on the street, that we got to make something different happen for them. But we got to make sure that we can house them if they're in trouble. That we do housing. Well, we do employment. We do everything we can for young people at this time. And so that's the main focus, is about making sure all youth are working this summer. But for them to work in like the parks, we got to make sure the parks are safe. So we're talking to organizations like A Mother's Love and Salem Inc. and God the Squad and A to AT, Mickey Frost. These organizations that help with that kind of work. We push for peace. Does a lot of hiring of people through the year. So we'll try to push people in jobs like that, working at some of the things for the summer, whether it's a restaurant, wherever. We want kids to be working and making money over this summer, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what we are gonna talk about. So when I talk about the governor's office, while we are trying to do that, we're still continuing to fight for a youth center, to have a place for people to go, have a place where they can go and do things in the community, that they might can't go somewhere else with. And this is us working with everybody, working with the community, working with organizations, law enforcement, everybody to participate, because that's the way we're gonna get out the violence. And what we got to separate ourselves is from the politics. The politics is what's getting African Americans killed, and the representation for African Americans is kind of low right now. And every other group, I'm not mad about it, but other groups are fighting for their community, and they doing very well. And we always have to pick and choose, and they'll say you can use this project, but you can't use this one. But when it comes to us saying what we need, they never listen to the ADOS community. They never listen to the ADOS community. And then some people even get mad because we say ADOS. But if you don't say ADOS, then you get caught up in the people of color, the minority, the Poppy Caucus, all these different things. But when other communities go in, they talk about the Latino immigrant community, the African immigrant community, the Hmong immigrant community, and they talk about the community that's not immigrant. So they got their own fight, and then we got to fight as a people to say, okay, we understand that you're dealing with this situation, but how are we gonna get our thing done? And it is about the dollar. It is about the dollar, and they try to make like when African Americans ask for what they need, they ain't got it. They ain't got it. But they can, if a war start like what happened in Russia and Ukraine, which every thing Ukraine get, they should get, because they over there with a violent dictator. They over there with a violent dictator that's killing people. He just killing people. He like a mad scientist, Putin. It's like a mad scientist, and he killing people. And that's what they doing. But we feel for the Ukrainian people, but we feel for our people too, right here in America. Right here in America, where the oppression of African Americans begun years ago. That's why a lot of people don't like to hear what I'm saying, because I tell the truth. I tell the truth to the people. This is what it is, you know. This ain't nothing again. I ain't got a racist bone in my body, but I do have envy of people that try to tell us what to do when they've been robbing us of everything we have since we've been in the country. And then when we come and tell you, they try to pick 5 or 6 African American organizations that they can utilize to go against their own people. You know, like ALF, like the African American Leadership Forum. It's a joke now. It was started by Gary Cunningham and people like Alfred Babington Johnson of Stair Step. I remember when they was having a meeting, one but 6 or 7 of them there. But it was a select group then. But it was a group talking about African Americans. That's what African American Leadership Forum, ALF. That's what they call them. Marcus Owens runs it now. And then when George Floyd died, all the rich bourgeois blacks got together and said, put money into ALF to do some alliance or something like that. You haven't heard about it because that's what they do. They got $4 million to start something that make life better for people that they say they fighting for. But what they do, they did nothing. They did nothing, and we have to sit there because nobody else gonna talk about ALF because we don't need to talk about our organization. No, just let them keep killing our people. So they're just as guilty as the people that gave them the money or the government if you don't know what they're doing. And that's how they use government. They use government. Government knows how to pick out who it is, whether you're a city leader or a county leader or a state leader. You know how we, because they always say we ain't gonna get together. So that's why I try to tell the truth and say, no, I'm gonna tell you this is what's happening, and then you got to decipher for yourself who's representing you. Who's representing you? You got a lot of so-called people out there playing like they're leading, but you don't see them. And if you don't see your leadership, then it ain't leadership. If your leadership ain't saying this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I'm trying to do to better the lives of your people, then it ain't happening. And so when people look and say, "Oh, Al said this, Al said that," no, Al just telling the truth. Al telling the truth, and while Al telling the truth, he's working with groups, collaborative groups. Whether we talking about police reform or public safety. When I talk about groups that got money, I always talk about that because they got a lot of money that could have helped us build some things that could help in our community. You know, when I talk about Black Vision Reclaim the Block, no, they raised $35 million when George Floyd died. And now, where are they at now? Where are they at now? What are they doing to make your life better after raising $35 million off the neck of George Floyd and the back of your ancestors? And they still here in Minnesota thinking it's going to die. It'll die. I got to leave. I'm going to keep saying it. So when they come up and say what they fighting for, they were never fighting for us. Their agenda, well, Black Lives Matter was a GLBTQ agenda. They were fighting for their rights, which we don't care. I fought for their rights in 2012. I fought for the right for them to get married. I have no problem with that group of people because we all people. I don't have no problem with them. But I have a problem with $35 million going to them, and then we over here right now trying to fight for a youth center to save our kids, to make life better for our children. That's what I've been doing. That's I'm fighting against them because they taking us. Just like if you're in the city, we working with the city with the mayor Jacob Fry. They come up with this committee that's really not having an impact on us, and really not listening to what African Americans say. But time will tell with that, because public safety got to be our top priority. We got to save our people before we can do anything else. And that's why when I talk about police reform, the UCMT and the Young People Task Force, who's been working on action items trying to get the things about what's happening with a chokehold, how you do people, treating people like humans. We trying to say treat us like humans. We trying to say that we want to be treated like humans. That's why we work on this police reform. We have to, as an African American people, ADOS. We have to work on this. Ain't nobody can tell us nothing. No group can tell us nothing. Ain't nobody been abused like the ADOS people. And now everybody, the world is saying you can't do that to them no more. We've been asking them to stop doing it to us, but we never had any leverage to say anything. Because other people, other groups, when you come in, you get a lot of benefits for coming to this country, benefits that's not afforded to the ADOS people. We've been the one that's always been redlined in housing. We've been redlined in education, in business development. Everybody own business but us. And then when we say it, we crying. No, no, you let people open business and they could have the dirtiest restaurant in the world, and you don't go in there and say nothing. You don't say nothing. But if an African American owns something, then you doing it with a fine-tooth comb. Even like stuff we're doing now. They don't think they ain't audited African Americans who's out there trying to save our people. The government want to audit that, but they couldn't audit $245 million that was stolen off of poor kids' back by Feeding Our Future. Feeding Our Future, $245 million for the government caught them. And then by the time they caught them, most of the money was in Kenya, Nairobi, Somalia, Somalia, everywhere else. It was everywhere. That money went everywhere. and the government's still trying to chase it down, and you may never chase it down. They already know that money gone, and there's 245 million lost. Can you imagine what we could have did here in Minnesota with 245 million? What you think we could have did? What you think we could have did with $245 million? We could have did a lot. So that's why I keep saying to Amy Bach, the white lady that didn't really want African Americans involved or Native. This was strictly this white lady, Amy Bach, with in the East African community, this Somali community. That's all she wanted to deal with. And I could say that because they asked African American pastor to be a part of it, and he said he wanted to do his own. They said, no, you can't do that with us. He's lucky because he would have been the first one they put on the poster. And Pastor McAfee know that. He would have been the first one they put on the poster after they done stole 245 million. But then when we trying to do something, they audit in 30 days. That's what the government do because it's still white. It's still white, and it's still treating us like the 3/5 human category. So we have to get around that. We have to fight, and we're not fighting no harder. This is why the fight ain't hard to me. The fight ain't hard to me because I know that that our ancestors went through much more than what I'm talking about. They got beat. They had whelps on their back. They got beat. They got all kind of. They got men got. Messed up in front of their children and things. Their kids got took from them. Can you imagine that? Remember they were taking the kids at the border, and somebody said, "Wow, I can't imagine them doing that." And when somebody say that to me, I'll look at them like, "You can't imagine where it happened already." This country was born on the country taking taking kids from their parents. But they were our kids and wasn't no concern back when they were taking our kids. And that's why I keep the fight going. I keep this thing going. I'm gonna keep fighting for African American ADOS. That's my mission. That's my mission by God. To just keep on saying it. Don't matter what nobody say. If I'm telling the truth, it don't matter what you say. Tell me when I'm not telling the truth. And that's how this country has been treating us over and over again. Over and over again to the point some people said, we need complete separation. Well, how this going to work out? How this going to work out? You can say that if you got some economic power. The economic power in our community, everybody keep it to themselves. Everybody keep it to themselves. So we can't do that, and we not going to. And we are not afforded the right to try to steal hundreds of millions of dollars like other communities have. And this government say, oh, let that go. Long as it ain't them African Americans. Because they know if we get strong economically, if we get healthier, if we get education, then we'll be a powerful entity. This is not a shock of what's happening to African Americans. This is not a shock that everybody is raising above African Americans. It's a shock that I'm one of the only ones that'll tell you what it is, because some that already got their money and got their status built up, they could care less about what I'm talking about. But they could care less because they don't live in it. They don't live 6 blocks from where George Floyd get killed. I'm never gonna forget it. Because I was aware they was when they was burning up and tearing up stuff, that was right here. That was right here. And I watched them burn it up and tear it up, and I watched what was happening after that when they said we didn't want law enforcement, we want to do something different, and I watched the whole thing. I know better. I knew we had to have law enforcement. Because we got to fix it, and we don't want our people in jail. That ain't what I'm saying, but hey, come on. Criminals go to jail. If you're a criminal and you criminalizing even in your community, even your community, terrorizing your community, that's not okay. That's not okay. That ain't what we can have. So when I watch and see when I talked about earlier the African American Leadership Forum, $4 billion talking about the Alliance of Alliance. It's a good game when you could draw that stuff on paper. You could draw it on paper and say this is what we gonna do here, and then don't do nothing and leave us out here depend for ourselves. So that's why I have the problem. That's why I'm gonna continue to work on police reform with the UCMT, chaired by Pastor Ian Bethel, with a young people task force, with people like Al Jr. and them, Miles Wilson, Nicholas Martin, all them, Anthony McMorris Rice, one that's produced this show, who's gonna be a great producer when he get through, because he got that kind of mindset. Doing outreach right now in the community. At watching him after he got to have to go see a body last night. You know, a couple of murders in the city of Minneapolis on the south side. This ain't the north side. This was on the south side. One being a close kid, close to my family. I ain't gonna say the name. I'll say it later, because I know this kid is hurting. And the kid was just in my house, and his father is gone. They were doing a balloon release. But I was concerned about how's this kid doing, and she said he just making it, and the mom trying not to cry, but her son lost his father, and he ain't 15 years old yet. That's what we deal with over here. That's what we're dealing with in the African American community. That's why we have to fight, and we don't have a lot of elected officials like the rest of them have did. You know, they got the, whether it's Bang out in Brooklyn Park, wherever these representatives at that represent a portion of the African American community, but they can't go to lobby for our community because they don't know us. They don't know what to say. That's why they could only, somebody said, a representative said they all they talking about. Representative Bain was talking about the Hmong community. Well, what did you think she was going to talk about? What did you think she was going to talk about? You know, with that's her community, the East African. You know, all we can do is say, hey, this is what we are trying to do, and that's why we are trying to do the youth center. We trying to do the young people. That's what Al Jr. and them that went around, had several meetings in the community, all different communities, Native, East African, African American. They had meetings in all them communities, and they said they wanted a youth center. That's what most kids said, whatever community you was in. And that's where they came up with Rosa Parks Youth Center, African American Development for Youth. And they trying to put it over north. Now we got to fight to get that, because we got to fight through the politics. We got to fight through the politics, and who's gonna barter and trade us again? It's just like being on the slave auction block. You know, you gonna which one is good for you, and you'll take the good one and sell all the rest of them. We still are. That's where we are at in government. This is how they people. This how the. That's why we got to stand up. That's why we was at the Capitol today. We went to the Senate office. The House office was closed. It's closed on Tuesday and Thursday. They got they want to be at home on Tuesday and Thursday. They're gonna be at home while I'm going to open the door, and the door locked. They said no, just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 4 to 8, and we're gonna do the rest of this damage behind virtual and hybrid. And so you can't really get to it. It's going to be another year before you really get to it, God willing, that we don't go through any other parts of this virus that been sucking the life out of us, been sucking the very life out of us. And so so we are fighting over there. We're fighting for the youth center. We're fighting for public safety, and we're gonna fight whether we got, because God didn't care how many you had in the army. He just wanted to have a righteous army, a righteous group of people that's out there saying what we need. and we shouldn't be afraid to ask for money when the government was broke until COVID hit, and they put trillions of dollars out there. And you're gonna tell me you can't fix the problem what we got? No, the reason they can't fix the problem we got is because they won't let us fix it, and they find African American ADOS people that'll sit there and say we can fix it, don't fix it, and then take the resources. And then when they say they did it, then we done. Then we done. You know, and that's what they do, and that's why we can't afford for them to play the interrupter game on us, because we saying, okay, because they're gonna say this is what we doing for violence, but then they won't let the interrupters do what they probably can do if they was really trying to help people. You can do it, but it's a gimmick, and they look at people. That's why I'm gonna keep saying it. I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. I've seen these avenues before, so you can't tell me nothing else. And that's why we have to say ADOS, ADOS. We have to say it, because if we don't, that's how they was getting us. No, you can't say African American. That's wrong there. That's wrong, because that's like discriminating to say African American. But you can say Somali, you can say Latino, you can say Native, you can say Hmong, you can say white, but you couldn't say African American all these years. That's what they were telling us. And then when we did the land, we got the let's talk about housing. When we did the land trust, the African American Community Land Trust, working with the City of Lakes, the Urban League, and Stair Step, when we put this together and we sent it over there, the bill over, and it had African American Community Alliance. They said you can't say that. You can't say that. And I fought from there along with the Urban League. We all said no. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can say our people. That's how they've been getting us. You shouldn't say nothing else. But some people scared to go in there with their organization because they get tarred and feathered for saying African American. You know we didn't teach y'all that way. So organizations bag up off of it. You know, even with a thing with the mayor today, he talking about people of color, the Poppy Caucus, you know, and then use somebody like PJ Hill to get up there and say the words. You know, they say the words because that's all you can say. PJ couldn't say African American ADOS. That's what Bill English said when he went in there. Wonder what happened, Bill. You should have kept saying, keep saying it, because unless if we stop saying it, then we're gonna be in the same position in the next 20 years. Everything I'm doing, talking about public safety, which everybody don't agree with that way. But give me another philosophy, be trying to figure out how we gonna work with these people, or you could say let them all go, and then we gonna be the one that die. Nobody else. We ain't gonna only die. We're gonna be in prison because they're gonna do a sweep. They're gonna do a sweep. You just can't run around being lawless. You can't run around being lawless. And so that's what I'm saying. That's why I talk about safety, police reform, and public safety. Housing, we got to develop a plan that we can, and that's what the African American Community Land Trust is, a plan. It's not the end all. It's the plan to say these are avenues that we can build to create wealth. If it helps us create wealth over the next 10, 20 years, then we have been successful. Because you might can go to the bank and get your own loan and get a house your conventional way. You might can do that. If you could do that, that's what we want you to do. But if you can't, we want you to have another avenue. We just like Section 8, they pay $1,500 your rent, $1,700. They pay your rent, and then that all goes to the landlord. You don't create no equity. You don't do nothing. They talking about programs to change that, to get some kind of ownership instead of giving in. And some of these are slum landlords. But that's the position we in. We housing, we like 20%, no more than 25 home ownership, 20%. That's what we at. If it's any higher, it won't go past 25. It won't go past 25. And that's why we got to break the cycle. We have to break that cycle. We must break the cycle to change this thing around. And the only way we're gonna do it is by telling the truth to each other, speaking truth to our people, and don't be and do it unapologetically. Do it unapologetically. Speaking the truth to our people. That's what we have to do now. We can't, and we fighting for this youth center, and then we got to go $9.2 billion, and we got to fight to say we need one African American youth center to take care of our community, and then we have to fight through the lobbyists. The lobbyists, it's a big game. We got to tell, if you're a black person and you ain't fighting for what you know we need, we should call that out. We should call that out, and that's what I'll be doing. I'm gonna fight like heck for us to have this youth center. I'm gonna fight with them young people to the end, and this should be bipartisan because everybody know we dying. Don't. I was talking to a senator today, and he was talking about, well, we put all this money down there to deal with these things in Minneapolis and St. Paul. All the money goes down there because he's from a rural area. Yep, it can go down there, but it ain't getting to us. And then when we try to say it, they take us through the hoops, or they'll create a program to say they helping us. And my favorite one is the recast for trauma of kids, of people in trauma. And they spent the money and didn't deal with one single family or person that they can come back and say, this person went through here and we helped them with trauma. They started putting in game, talking about whoever got the best essay. I'm going to let you go out and do trauma. And then they gave him $25,000, $35,000, $40,000. And they had, one of them had a party where they was getting kids to pay them to come into the party. And get them to come into the party. That's what they doing. And that was a former NAACP representative that did that. They got that money and they spread it out. Ain't talked to nan kid, not one kid. And then they say, but we did that for y'all, and that's the game they play. Now the governor gonna have all these bills come through, and every one of them gonna have, this is what we're gonna do for people of color, the disparity. But the disparities is in the African American community. They put the whole people of color together, and that's how they're gonna do it. Because you can't do it in the Somali community, right? The Somali community saying, "Where's my cut? We'll do our own stuff. We don't need you to help." The Latino community, the Native community, the Hmong community, they all say that when you cut the power, it goes to them. When you cut it up, there's nobody there for the African Americans. The only one there is the one that'll reach out and take that measly $1 million, $2 million out of $9.2 billion in surplus. 9.2 billion. And if I'm talking about 80 US people, if we get 100 million out of 9.2 billion, I will stand up and say, hey, we got an opportunity here. If we could get 100 million, and there's bills, I know there's bills out there. I know what we got there, and this is important to us. Now they'll put other bills in, and then they'll go to committee, and then they'll start saving and cutting. We got to make sure they don't cut this youth center out. This is a important tool that our community can use, and it's carried by Senator Champion and in the House, and Paul Kozelka. That's a Republican running for governor, and we're still waiting on the hearing. I think Senator Champion gonna get us. We got to have a hearing pretty quick in Senate I know one coming up. I don't know when that one coming up, or if we gonna be in that equity package that the senator is putting together. I don't know what's happening because maybe we can go in that equity package and we ain't even got to worry about the Senate, but we got to worry about Bach, who's on the capital investment, and we went over to Senator Bach, who's now independent, asking asking for some time, and asking for some time to meet, and I'll be talking to his good friend Senator Hayden to try to get us in that some kind of meeting with Bach, because I mean he a lobbyist now. He a lobbyist now, so he got bills, his own bills to carry. But I know he can help us in this area. So I'm gonna be looking forward to that former senator Jeff Hayden, good friends with Tom Bach. So I'm imagining we're gonna get that hearing at the Capitol on the Capital Investment Committee with Senator Tom Bach, and we'll be over at the legislature. I was over there with the young people today, myself and Mark Anderson. I was over there with Al Jr. and Anthony and McMorris Rice and Victor Martinez and his kids, and we're gonna be over there to the end. We gonna because if we don't if it don't happen, it won't be because we didn't fight to the end. Out of 9.2 billion, doing this center at this getting the center up. Out of that, all being asked for is $8 million. 6 million in capital. That's to make sure the building right, and 6 million in capital to make sure the building right, and 2 million in operating dollars. And we got some components there that we got community action, Dr. Hightower. We got the YMCA that's support. We got Assistant Commissioner Booker Hodges was a supporter. Now he's the chief in Bloomington. We former Chief Arredondo, interim Chief Hubman. We got Sharon Elamine, the school board chair. Not the school board chair. Kim Ellison is the school board chair, and Sharon Elamine, the director in that neighborhood. And we got Esther Gaji, the state rep, who has been pushing the ideal. So it's some real stuff happening. But like I said, the legislature comes in January. By May, they going home. You ain't gonna see them no more till next January. Then you got to go through election and all that. So these next 30 days, as we coming in the April, because April on April 1st is April Fool's Day, and we don't. So I ain't gonna do nothing that day because everybody will be April Fooling. But from now to April 1st, we're going to push hard. We're going to push hard. We're going to push hard just as hard as we did when we were fighting for the kids. I'm glad the kids going back to school. And we're supposed to have a school board chair, Ellison, come on sometime in this show, but I know she's at a meeting that she was at a meeting. She was going to try to get off and get on here with us and talk about what happened in that strike. But I need to get these things off what I'm talking about. We got tools. We got tools to deal with police reform and with public safety. We got tools to deal with housing, different areas. And we're going to put it all together and have the package. And we want to put it online for everybody to choose your option. And then support these projects, support the UCMT and what they talking about. You can be a part of that. This is not. This ain't a closed thing like what they got down at City Hall. What they doing down at City Hall? If they don't get that right, it's gonna be things gonna be even uglier. Things gonna be even uglier. You can't keep pushing the people in a corner and think you playing with their life, and then pay them off, whether it's whether you spending like what I said with the interrupters spending it. It ain't that thing. It ain't a good idea to have that many people out there. It's about strategically, how do we help our people? How do we help our people? How do we together help our people? How can we do that? How can we do that? And that's by collaborating and working together, and doing the things that we can do together, and then fighting the government together, because it's still a fight with government, because they don't believe they if so many African Americans getting killed all over the country, but it's things, and then when some break out like COVID, they could spend trillions of dollars on that. Something happened like a war in Ukraine, they could spend billions of dollars on that. But when the war is right on our streets, and we said, hey, we need to do what the Ukrainians are doing, and say, hey, we want to stop this in our community too. Why are you doing that? Why don't you push 100 million to us? Because you're pushing billions over there, which you should, because nobody should get treated like that, and we got a feeling about that. But at least they had a country. They over there. I bet the African Americans will be doing the same thing when you're talking about autonomy. When you're talking about having your own. If we had our own Ukraine, you wouldn't be able to do that. We'll all strap up because it's our country. It's our country. But see, here in America, they seem to forget that we built the country, and they still haven't gave up reparation. They did nothing to make the life better of ADOS people. They lived off us, social workers. Everybody has lived off of our misery. We get the misery, they get the money. And then when we say we need the money, oh, we don't need no money to fix that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You need big money to fix the problem that they created over the last 400 years. You need big money. And that's why the progressive movement is a killer to African Americans. That progressive movement, it's a killer to African Americans, because it's saying, hey, let's all come together, but you're not treated equally. The movement, when they came in, when they burnt everything down, it was never about us. They used George Floyd was a symbol. They said, let's use this N word so we can do what we got to do under them. And then when they start asking for something, then we'll say, oh no, wait a minute. They just want to fight with us, with the police. Y'all, look, we're getting this fight with the police. Y'all keep fighting them while they still continue their corruption. It's a lot of corruption going there. It's a lot of corruption going there. So they tell us, we'll fight with y'all with the police. And this to any ADOS person. We know they'll fight with us, well, when the police kill us, but will they fight with us when we need justice about housing, about education, about business development, economic development, creating wealth in the Black community, having public safety. All those items they won't touch. But they could touch this one thing right here. And then when we was in the middle of that fight, they tried to play like, because we knew that the movement, the progressive movement, and Black Lives Matter was about GLBTQ. Then they started trying to play like, oh, they don't like us. They don't like now that's what they was gonna pin on. If you're a heterosexual ADOS person, then you didn't like them because you said the truth. Because you said the truth. That's just not true. And that's why we're gonna continue fighting. We're gonna continue doing the right thing. And now I got our school board chair, Chair Ellison, and I got to be nice again. I got to change the tone and give y'all something a little more pleasurable. But I'm fighting for her, and I'm fighting for us, and she also she has also when I talk about that, you said it, this is very important to me, like it is her. So she know what we need, but we'll talk about that later, because we got a lot of more work to do on that. But right now, I'm so glad to have our school board chair, Director Kim Ellison, on with us, because a lot of people want to know what's been happening. Our kids are back in school, and let's first welcome Director Ellison, and now we on screen. And last time she tried to give us information on the phone at the school district doing the strike, and tried to give us some update, and we was battling to get it in, but I knew she would come back. She's always coming back to say what her opinion and what she thinks. And so thanks for coming back, Chair Ellison.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm so excited. Students went back to school today. Strike is over. We have a tentative agreement that's been ratified by the union. The district, the board tonight approved resolution to ratify the MOAs that will start getting our workers. Part of the tentative agreement included one-time checks, and so they'll start getting their money because they've been out of work. I mean, they haven't been paid. So that was, I mean, when you go on strike, it's not easy. It's not something you do for fun, and you don't get paid. And so there's a price that you pay for that. And I was happy that we were able to ratify, approve this resolution so that they could get their one-time soon. So that happened tonight. We had a board meeting, had to pass some contracts to make sure that we put on hold because we haven't been meeting during the strike. Make sure some construction gets started, some bills get paid, and make sure that we pass the resolution to approve the MOA, memorandum of agreements with the unions, with the teachers, and with the MFT teacher portion and the educational support professionals. So that passed tonight as well.
So, Director Ellison, let's talk about what's happening now, because in a war like that, it's things are gonna happen. It's a lot of things that change. Kids got to do different things. I don't know if y'all got that all lined up. What happened? Was it? Did we miss some days? Do we had? We got to make. Can you talk about what happens with the kids right now?
Sure. Yes. So there is a law that says we have to provide so much instructional time for students, and because of the strike, that number. So part of the resolution tonight was to change the calendar, basically, change the calendar for this school year that lists the days of the strike as non-instructional days. But then we had to increase the day, all schools, for 42 minutes. And then we have to go another 2 weeks into the summer. So instead of June 10th being the last day of school, June 24th will be the last day of school.
So and so it won't be any longer days. They still get out at the same time, or because like my grandson said, he might have to go to school extra time. Is that what's that about?
Yeah. So we had to add 42 minutes to each day. We couldn't make up all this time by just adding minutes because we would be in school at 8:00 at night, and we couldn't make up the time by just adding days to the end of the school year because then we'd be in school till July. So staff and the agreement, it wasn't just staff and the unions agreed. One of the things, after you come to a tentative agreement on your contract, you have to agree after a strike on a return to work plan. So the unions, both ESPs and the teachers and the district came to this agreement that we would add 42 minutes to the end of each day, and then add 10 days to the end of the school year to make up for all the time that was missed in the last 3 weeks.
And what you say to kids, like my grandson said, he didn't have nothing to do with y'all striking, or what do I mean? These are smart kids now. Like, wait a minute, hold up. They enjoyed the time out, but now they got to pay some of the consequences for the strike too. What you say to them?
well, you missed learning, and you have your teacher. And so this is your opportunity to, since you weren't able to be with your teacher and you weren't able to learn in school for those days, this is the opportunity you have to make it up. It's not a punishment. It's making up the times that you missed. So.
And I'm glad he's sitting here listening to you. So when well, I know he'll see you sometime. He's sitting there listening. He listening like, no, no, he like, no, we don't want that, but it's, I'm glad they're back, that they are back in school. And Chair Ellison, tell us about the agreement and what was reached there. Or can you
Okay.
talk about?
Yeah, because once the union ratifies it, I haven't seen the contract. Now they'll have to put the tentative agreement into contract language, is what I've been told, and the board will vote on that, on the contract, at an upcoming board meeting. But some of the highlights are, there was increase in pay for our ESPs. Teacher wages will increase 2% this year. Everybody is getting a $3,000 bonus this year for sure. I think in both years. We have
Excuse me, is that the ESPs and the teachers get a bonus?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All employees will get a bonus. Yep.
Oh,
so I
good.
don't know the details exactly, if it's both years or if it's just first year. Some language we have in there, protections for teachers of color. We have some interview and select things so that we can start interview and select earlier, so that we can get teachers. We're late when we start interviewing for teachers and teacher positions. And so sometimes people that we want to interview have already accepted jobs elsewhere. So moving up earlier. Like I said, protections for teachers of color. So if you belong to a underrepresented group of the teachers, and accessing, so you will not be able to return to the school, or layoffs happen, the person who belongs to will not be accessed or laid, and instead the next least senior teacher will be, who doesn't belong in an underrepresented group. So it's confusing, but it is what we're calling as protections for teachers. We have an agreement to have a relationship with this organization called Black Men Teach. Come in and they work with high school students, Black male high school students who are interested in going into teaching, and help them get into teacher prep programs and the jobs after that. So we've got an agreement to work with Black Men Teach as well. And then those are the major highlights I can remember.
And
their class size caps. So class size is
class size capped.
Yeah. So they'll be in both schools. I mean, they differentiate between schools, 20% or more, or 70% free and reduced. And cap sizes for the classes can't go over a certain number of students.
And so, Chair Ellison, you talk about all the good things happening, but the whole thing was about do we have the resources in public schools, and y'all came up with a deal. How much was the deal? I remember at one point it was like 45 million and 20 million for the ESPs. So what did it end up costing the district?
About that last time we had 20 million on the table for support professionals and $40 million on the table for teachers.
And that didn't change?
That didn't change. the staff was able to rearrange, but the bottom line didn't change.
So what you anticipating? So we won't. What you anticipating, or you just don't want to anticipate? And it won't cause us to close schools. That was a lot of concerns. People thinking schools gonna close, or what was gonna happen when the strike was over. Those some of the questions I got, and those some of the questions I heard on line was about the school closings, or is it going with that? The first school they pick out be saying is that going to make North High have to close, or what you say to them people? Can you hear Director Ellison? We just waiting to see see if Director Ellison get back in, and she said a lot there. So we'll wait and see if she get back there. The teachers be going back. They'll be getting bonuses. The school now, just a recap. The school days are gonna go 42 minutes longer, and 2 weeks later, because of the strike, and that was in agreement. And I told her some of the kids that they weren't happy about that happening, because they got to be in school longer. And we'll work with kids and make sure that they are working, and doing things that filling out job applications. And that'll be helpful for organizations like Team Teamwork, who wants to get these get some of the people to come back and be a part of a school. And let's do something inside the school to make that last 2 weeks one that they can learn about working and doing economic development and things like that. So that's how we're gonna approach that. I'm glad the kids are back in school, and that's where we was. So that was School Board Chair Ellison. I still had some more questions for, but we got to be proud these kids are going back to school, and try to help them, because they missed a lot of education. They missed a lot of education, and so we got to just be happy for that. And I think we might have Chair Ellison back. Can you hear me, Chair Ellison? Can you hear me, Chair?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. And then
can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. And I had a couple of more questions. But it seems like that part is all going to work out. That part, that we were talking about school closing, and a lot of people were online doing the strike and saying if getting picking one, whether they was mad at the teachers or mad at y'all at the school district, but they were saying they had concerns about what's going to happen next year. What's going to happen if that's going to have an impact on teachers, or do you know yet? Or and some was concerned about school closing, and every time they say that, they start talking about North, which I know you would never let that happen. But talk about that part, concerns people had for the year coming up. I know that was a hard fought fight to do the right thing and try to make sure you got the resources. But talk about what you say to the people that's wondering what's going to happen next year in the next school year. Go ahead, Director Ellison.
We're to say there'll be closing. What we're doing is conversation. One thing that has happened in the because of the pandemic and because of other reasons is there's been a decline in enrollment. One of the things that we've been using the ESSER money, the American Rescue Plan money that we've been getting from the federal government to stabilize teaching, to stabilize staff. But one, that money is going to run out. We don't need that many teachers because it has decreased. Sometime next year, we're going to start having that conversation about and what we can do to make sure that we're serving students. But many staff are too many.
That's what a lot of concern was about, and then and I like to say we need what would you say to parents to get them through this how do they prepare for this extra 2 weeks? Because how do they prepare for that, Director Ellison? And her screen popped out. We'll see if she come back in. And to the people that think that the school's gonna close, things like that the school's gonna close, we got to fight against that. We gotta fight against that. We gotta fight for what we are talking about. What we talking about to make sure the schools don't close in the next school year because of this strike. I'm not one that for them to make a decision after their strike that they're gonna go on. They're gonna make kids go on 2 extra weeks. But it's hard to say something on that because you talk about education. But now the children will be punished for their strike. They'll be punished for their strike. It goes back to the kids again. It's still a punishment for them because they look. If I know if I was in school and I got out on June 10th, and then you tell me no, you got to go 2 more weeks before you got to start your summer, and then you still got to start school on time. That's pretty good. But I guess some people, some countries don't even give you a month out of school, and we gotta fight for this education. I'm concerned about our kids' education. I'm concerned about what we fighting for, and that's why I talked about the youth center. The youth center is important to our community. It's very important. It's about, do we have the power to say this is what we want, or are we going to use the gimmicks of what somebody else say we want? I have no problem with the governor saying he's supporting RV, whatever that thing is, over north, of swimming, a state-of-the-art swimming over north, and that's an interesting thing. And I don't know if that's the gentrification move or what. I don't know if that's what that is. On one end, and then you say you gonna put something into the Phyllis Wheatley, and then they try to pacify us with little bitty things. But then the bigger things are going to, like $15 million going into this swimming pool, because they said it's going to bring 200 something. I don't know what the hell they said it was going to bring in. But this is something that, these are rich people saying this is what we want here in North Minneapolis. There's something funny about this. It's some, I really ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it. And maybe I can't feel it because earlier I told you, we watching people dying. I'm watching from the mayor to the county commissioners who's like County Commissioner Fernando Irene. She getting ready to run, and having what's been produced on this watch, what's been produced. But if you get behind that progressive movement, they're putting people in office and to do their agenda, so their people can't move far away from what they saying. They gotta hate the police. They gotta hate anything about law enforcement. But and then when you get a black person to do it, you're really good. You're really good. When you get them to do it, you're really good. So we have all these fights about our kids' education, public safety, police reform, housing. Ain't no more fight than what we doing right now. Ain't no more fighting. And I'm telling you, this is the time. It's our time. They not trying to let us know it's our time. They're gonna use every group against us because they don't want to say it's our time. And the next rebellion, it won't be. We're not gonna lead any white progressive to lead us, because we're gonna begin to see, our eyes gonna open to see what you're doing. What I'm talking about now, I'm ahead of my time to say what I'm telling you, because I said just a few years back, we was gonna be into this murder thing where we're losing people in death, and nobody, now they turning their back. They turning their back, but we can't turn our back, because it might be one of our sons or our kids' friend that something happened to somebody in their family. It touches us. It touches us in the African American community. So this is the great battle here, and I'm telling you, it's with electeds, it's with the governor, it's with the county commissioners, the mayor. It is a fight about what they doing, because they'll have blacks saying, no, do this over here, because we still fight each other, and we don't fight each other about the truth. Because what I'm saying, don't nobody come to Al Flowers and say, hey man, why you lie on me? All they said, man, I wouldn't just put it out there. If the white man do it, I do it there. If the white woman do it, if the black man do it, or the black woman do it, and that seem to be the only one that do it. Ain't no East African can hurt us, because they can't say what we need. Ain't no Native or Latino or Hmong. They can't hurt us because they can't say what they need. So the only one could hurt us is our people, and then the people that run the government, which is maybe 90% white, and some Republicans, some Democrats. And then the Democrats try to get the one that's gonna come in there and say, "Yes, sir, boss. Don't deal with that person over there. Don't deal like they did me." For years, we telling the truth, and they people like Spike Moss, who were telling the truth, Ron Edwards, who were telling the truth. They were telling the truth, and they couldn't get past. That's why I always talk about some of the ancestors that left here. Bernadette Anderson was a fighter. Willa Mae Dixon was a fighter. These are black women that was fighters. Nellie Stone Johnson was a fighter. She created the Farmer Labor Union in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. That's what they did. I know what they did. But they couldn't get along with some of those people, and we had fighters there, even Matt Little, Harry David. They was inside fighting. They were inside fighting, but when they tell them to shut up, I don't know. They shut up. It was a whole different. It was this what when they to be inside, you had to shut up sometime, and sometimes they'll tell you to shut up. And I know the stories. I heard the stories from our elders. I'm telling you what the story is. That's why I try to build with young people that's born in Minneapolis, so you'll know your history, because people travel in here, and that's what they did this last round. And it was an ambush, and we got ambushed again. African American. Only one died. George Floyd died. Knee on his neck. Knee on his neck. But what happened with our community? Nothing. We got nothing. We got nothing out that deal. We got nothing. We've been fighting ever since. And the best thing about what's happening now is them young people, young brothers. And when I say that, those young brothers that are under 30 finna go over 30. But when they get over 30, they're going to be so educated, they're going to be killers. Not in the sense of killers. They're going to be killers in a system that they're going to know. They at the legislature know them right now, and they're going to see how we get played. And then you'll see black people turning like, I didn't know that. They know everything. They know it all. And we got to begin to express that and tell that. And like I said about the progressive movement, it's a killer to African Americans. It's a killer to African Americans. And I say that I got I'm working on a pen and a book, putting it out there, saying, talking about this journey and what they're gonna do, what they're gonna do to us, what the progressive movement gonna do, because they don't listen to us. They listen. That's a white progressive, and then and they picked up the GLBT, which is a big movement, and they came together, and they the one been doing this fight. We've been fighting. We've been saying, yeah, we've been crying for years. Y'all ain't never hear us, but now they got body camera. So you getting caught. The little girl had the camera to catch George Floyd. We would never would have seen that. I wonder what they would have did. They would have turned them body cameras off. But that's how crazy Chauvin was. That's how crazy he was. And that's the fight we were having. So while I'm sitting here interviewing the school board chair, talking about what's happening and what they are gonna do now. Everybody, can we all get along? Can we all get along? Yeah, yeah, we sure can. We sure can when we get treated right with justice. So and ain't no black leader, ain't no black pastor, ain't no black community leader, ain't no black person gonna tell me I said something that wasn't true. And I'm saying it about what is in the governor's. We got to read what the governor said he's doing for African American people, because nobody's telling us. Nobody's telling us what they're gonna do for us. The moms know what they're gonna do. The Natives are working on a $70 million reconstruction of the Indian Center. And they gave us a letter of support for this youth center because they know what they're doing. And it's up to us to fight. But we got to fight even through political people. But I tell you what, I'm going to tell you, we're going to figure out the governor's bill, and we're going to get this youth center. The governor, we got to tell the governor, they got representation. We ain't got no representation in that governor's office. In Daria over there, but that's the next question. We need to see what's in the governor's bill for us. And we're not gonna, we can't take it any kind of way. We got to see what's in there for us. We the one dying. We the one bad in education and housing. Why haven't the governor just plopped down that $500 million that State Rep John Thompson asked for? It wasn't a big ask. It wasn't a big ask if you want to make a people right and fair. No, you want us to keep scrapping, keep fighting. So if that's what you want to do, but we're going to keep scrapping, we're going to keep fighting, but we're going to educate our people. We're going to educate our people. They're going to know what's going on. They're going to know what's going on. And you can't continue to treat African Americans, ADOS people any kind of way. And if that's the last thing I could do, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to fight, continue to educate young people and say, this is what you are fighting about. And don't be scared to say ADOS, because everybody else is saying what they are. And we all supposed to be and then they'll say, you're a part of the human race. When we get treated like that, we'll let you know. When we get treated like that. That's why we're the one in prison. That's why it was an easy argument to say you done unjustly convicted a lot of people. You done did that. We've been getting treated like that. We do something, we get 30 years, and somebody that's got the white complexion can do it. It might do 5 years, or they do something. Anything they do, we was sentenced unjustly, and they looked at us different. That's from the county attorney to the prosecutors, the judges, even the public defender. They didn't never really fight for you. They was pretenders, and then when they get in there with the prosecutor, either you gonna go through a trial or we gonna bump your head. And they most of the time win because they got all the artillery, right? They got everything. They got it all. So that's what I'm talking about. So I'm in this fight for the long run. We should get this youth center. We should get the youth center. We're gonna fight to the end. If we don't get it, you know you're gonna hear it every week. We talked to everybody from the former majority leader Gazelka, Senator Champion. They got our bill over there. We're gonna see what happens over there. Some say, I don't know what they are thinking. I don't know what they are thinking, but everybody, we need a youth center, and we got a hearing, and we got to get it in Senate with Senator Champion and Senator Gazelka. We got to get a hearing there. We must get a hearing there, and that's the bottom line to what we are doing. That's the bottom line. So I don't know how much time I got. I can't I don't know how much time I got here. And I just got a time check. I got a few minutes left to say we're gonna fight this out, and I'm gonna fight with the young people to the end to get what they want. This is what they say they want, and this is young people saying it to young people, because the ones I'm talking about, young people task force, is under 30. They talking to kids from 12 to up to their age, almost their age. So that's why I can call them young, and they fighting for these young kids. Now it ain't me just fighting. I'm fighting with them. That we got to hope the politicians fight with them. Mahmoud Noor, the head of economic development, he said he was fighting Fu Lee, who represents a lot of African Americans in his district. He's the head of the Capitol Committee. So I know they gonna fight, but it's when it get over to the in that room with the speakers and Speaker of the House and people like that, the governor, the Senate Majority Leader, all them negotiators, that we don't get negotiated out and everybody else get what they did, because we going line by line. This is what they did: 9.2 billion. 9.2 billion, and you want us to debate about 8 million to develop a Rosa Parks African American Rosa Parks Center for Development of Youth? I mean, come on. Who else would you? What else can you do? You when you talk about North Commons, that's the park. That's the park. North Commons is the park. So don't act like here's something. You putting something over there for the park. That's for everybody. I'm talking about us. When you talk about the swimming, I don't know what they talking about. RB, I don't know what what's that for. But I guarantee you, they got the stats of African Americans in it. They talking about how poor. Oh, this is gonna be nice, and it'll be nice for this community, this impoverished community. And then they want $15 million. Wow. They want $15 million for some their development. And then we had the hearing. Thank you, Esther Agaji. If I said it right, Representative Esther. I want to thank her, and I want to thank Fu Lee, and I want to thank Senator Champion, because I know he's gonna get us a hearing, because he knows this is what our community wants. I know he's gonna do that. I know we'll have that hearing, and then it'll get into them committees, and that's when we got to fight to make sure that the governor makes sure that he know that this youth center is important to us. So today I tried to drop as much as I could. The fight is every Tuesday. I'm gonna try to bring the noise about something, and I'll be talking about this all the way through. So next Tuesday, at this same time at 6:30, you can tune in, and we gonna be right back at you. And I ain't got but 30 seconds. So whether you living in Arkansas, whether you in Georgia, Kentucky, whether you in Missouri, in St. Louis, in Missouri, Chicago, in Illinois, Cleveland, in Ohio, Las Vegas, California, wherever you watch it, it's a struggle we all in together. And we're going to win this struggle. We're going to win the fight. You know why? Because I know God got our back. He's always had our back. Our ancestors are looking down. We're going to make the fight, and we're going to win. I'll say to you, we'll see you next time on another episode. Thank you, Chairboard Ellison, for coming on, and I'll see you next time on another episode. Al Flowers, Truth to the People. See you next time.